Welcome, climate viewers. It's been a minute. Happy Easter. Christ is risen. It has been one heck of a ride this past month. A lot of you may be wondering, where the heck has Jim been? I've been busy. Very, very, very busy. And we're going to go through all the things that I've been busy doing. If you're new here and you don't know your way around the place, please go to connect.climateviewer.com, where you can see all three of my websites, my SUBSTACK newsletter, and all of my social medias, all the things. But I have something new for you. We're going to talk about that Chemtrail Taskforce. Now, I've been sent at least by 20 different individuals videos about Trump and RFK's Chemtrail Task Force. We're going to get into the behind the story. Why? Because I was directly involved in it, so I know. We'll definitely talk about that. EPA's Lee Zeldin targets make sunsets geoengineering. The Global Wellness Forum and Dane's sudden departure. Things we agree on, things we disagree on, many different things we're going to talk about here, but I'm going to summarize for you guys what's been going on for the last month. And before we do that, I want to point out something obvious. Every year for almost 20 years now, right around tax time, I do a GoFundMe. I did not this year. I paid over $3,000 out of pocket for servers, URLs, software, restream, all the things. And I'm planning on building a studio. As you can see, I am in my love den. I am in my bedroom. And if I want to continue doing this, if I want to grow the channel, and I want to do a variety show that we originally agreed on Friday, it's probably going to be Thursday, because that way it doesn't just interrupt things. You know, if I want to go off for the weekend, take my kids and family off, I won't get in the way. But we're going to do a variety show. We're going to do things differently. I'm looking forward to this big change. But the only way that's really going to happen is if I can renovate a building I have behind my house and turn it into a studio. So for those who can, and I understand that everybody can't, go to, that's not what I'm supposed to be showing you. Go to connect.climateviewer.com. If you guys can support me now, I would greatly appreciate it. PayPal or GiveSendGo, however you choose, whatever the best way. And my address is on the bottom. I believe it's on the bottom of the page. You know, for those who don't do, you know, anything digital, it would be greatly appreciated, because I got to get up out of this house before, you know, it's going to free up my time to be able to make more videos, to be able to work more on the things that I'm working on. And you're going to see what those are very shortly. But I've been doing this, you know, for 20 years now out of my house, and my wife would like her room back, and I understand that, and I would like my own space to work, definitely. That being said, let's just get into it. So what's the breaking news? What's going on? And where the hell has Jim been for the last month? Well, I've been working on a new thing, and it really goes to the heart of what we're talking about here today. A new website has appeared on the internets, and this new website is going to break the internets. For far too long, I have had ClimateViewer.com, ClimateViewer News, weather modification history, the entire history of weather control, ClimateViewer maps with all of my maps. What I have not had is something to really put all of my chemtrail stuff in one page. And for those who've been to weathermodificationhistory.com, you know that when I put in the facts, they look like this. I mean, this is just Mexico bans make sunsets rogue geoengineering. When it happened in the timeline. Quotes. Where they did their tests. All of these are referenced. You click this, it'll take you down to the reference. All of the references are in the reference section. There's downloads. The original Make Sunsets forum, which you could just pop open like this and see it for yourself. You know, project Cooling Earth. You cannot get this kind of material anywhere else. And now I'm going to do this for chemtrails. The undertaking I'm about to go through is insane. But it's this level of detail, showing you the people, bringing you the receipts, that is necessary at this point for me to clarify my positions on the chemtrails. This is Luke Eisman and Andrew Song. We're going to be talking about them later in the video. But this website will be one website to rule them all and clarify that I am not Jim Lee, the jet fuel guy. For all you shills, for all you bots and NPCs out there that have been coming at me, especially in this past month, know that your day of reckoning is coming. That the whole truth will be told. Like it or not, like it or lump it, there's not a single person on the planet who has debunked one sentence of weathermodificationhistory.com. Get ready for this one, because I'm going to put all 20 years of my learning on this topic into one page. And there will be no more, well, Jim's just this guy and Jim just believes these things. No, I'm going to teach you. Guess what, people? By the time I'm done with this website, you will be able to predict chemtrails too. I will bet anything on this. So that's coming up really soon. What have I been up to the last month? Well, you can come, if you're not already subscribed to the Substack, there's a change to the Substack. It is now available. Oh, I didn't share this in chat. Let me throw this out to everybody. Chemtrailfacts.com. Go ahead and bookmark that bad boy. There is a link on the page. If you click subscribe to get notified, you'll see it says climateviewer.substack.com. Oh, it's not called climateviewer.substack.com anymore. It is www.climateviewer.news. So now we have a URL for the Climate Viewer report. If you sign up over here, you will get my latest news delivered directly to your inbox. I currently have over 6,000 subscribers on here. Why don't you join? It's free. And if you appreciate the content on the website, I suggest become a paid subscriber. Everybody that does this is helping me get home. I want to be able to do this full time. Like I did from 2013 through 2019. I quit my job. I only did this, and I was supported by you guys. God bless every one of you who did. So in the last month, I was on the Kate Daly show, Kate Daly Radio. I was on Weaponized News with Sam Chaney. We did the second international panel on environmental modification. The first one was called the International Panel on Geoengineering and Weather Modification. It was not about geoengineering and weather modification. I can promise you that. So then I went on with Michael Jaco, former Navy SEAL and CIA operative, and we got very deep into the CIA side of geoengineering and all of the things chemtrails. Lots of content for you guys to check out that I'm sure you have not seen, unless you're a subscriber and you've already checked it out. Geoengineering 101, History, Science, and Global Operations with Nicholas Hulsher from Focal Points at the McCullough Foundation. That's the most recent post. Bunch of interviews for you guys to dive into. That's what I've been busy doing. That's one of many things I've been doing. I'm going to save the best part for last, because I'm going to give you guys some inside baseball, some behind the scenes of what's actually been going on, because I sent my resume to RFK for this chemtrail task force. I'm going to give you my predictions. You're not going to like it. So for those of you who remember, it got bumped. How about that? It got bumped. So we'll go down here real quick. See all this Maha. For those who remember the Maha nomination on their forum, I had the most votes of anybody in the category for this. However, that all amounted to nothing, because what happened to the Maha forums? They got deleted. Yes, they got deleted. It is no longer there. And that is a damn shame. So I was always, of the mind that this probably isn't going to be a thing, but hey, everybody, please, put your votes in. I had an overwhelming amount of votes on there. This is the original URL. And as you can see, the site cannot be reached, which is kind of crazy. If I just pop this up, I believe I can check archive, throw this into here, / this, that, go there. And it doesn't actually show the votes. If anybody wants to go back and see, you can check the records. There's videos of it, where I had over 1,200 votes in the nominees for the people on the, Maha forum, nominees for the people, and just an outstanding amount of comments. Just absolutely amazing. All the people who voted for me. I appreciate that. It may have had some influence on the fact that we even got to the place where we did, where I was in discussions with possibly being part of Team RFK and fighting them chemtrails. That's not how it worked out. But let's get to some of the breaking news. What just happened? So the EPA's Secretary Lee Zeldin, he tweeted out, for those who missed this, this was April 15th. Make Sunsets is a startup that is geoengineering by injecting sulfur dioxide into the sky and selling cooling credits. This company is polluting the air we breathe. I've instructed my team that we need to quickly get to the bottom of this and take immediate action. And you can see in here, Mr. Luke Eisman, Mr. Andrew Song, as I just showed you, that's Andrew Song, that's Luke Eisman. And these are the balloons that they're filling up with sulfur dioxide and throwing into the sky. Now, clearly, this was 2022 when I put this on the website. So, better late than never, I guess we could say. But, that's just the way it goes. So, I responded to him at Make Sunsets. And for those who don't know, Make Sunsets is right here on X, and they send out a newsletter. Like, I get an email newsletter from them basically saying, hey, here's what we did this month, all of that, like, we're a 2-person startup and proud that the EPA is paying attention. This is new. I haven't even read this. Stratospheric aerosol injection has incredible leverage. Just 1 ton of SO2, sulfur dioxide, in the stratosphere offsets 1 million tons of CO2 warming for the year. That deserves scrutiny and support. Let's scale this solution responsibly. I want to make this very clear. Love them or hate them, Luke Eisman and Andrew Song are as transparent as any geoengineering person I've ever seen in my life. They don't hide it. They flaunt it. They're not, sugarcoating it. They are literally just jumping up and down in public going, look at me, I'm throwing balloons. And you can virtue signal by buying some of our cooling credits and we'll throw balloons for you. Now, the interesting part about this is contrast that with the predictions I made on ClimateViewer.news, my Substack. I said 2024 would be the year of stealth geoengineering. And it did become that. During 2024, we had Andrew Lockley with his Satan project, stratospheric aerosol transport and nucleation. He did it in secret. We had Kelly Wasner from silverlining.ngo. She operated a marine cloud brightening sea salt sprayer on the USS Hornet in San Francisco and did not tell anybody why. She was scared of public backlash. Stealth geoengineering. We have Israel's Stardust Labs, which is an Israeli-U.S. startup company, which is positioning itself as a defense contractor for geoengineering for governments for profit. And the only thing they're waiting on is the United Nations Environmental Assembly to ratify geoengineering governance. So that's 3 examples of stealth, secret geoengineering projects that were either shut down or in, 2 shut down, 1 in the works. Meanwhile, Lee Zeldin wants to make an example out of Luke Eisman and Andrew Song. I'm for that. I mean, but at the end of the day, if that's all we're going to talk about, we're going to completely miss the story. We're going to miss all of the opportunity. So, with that being said, I responded, Make Sunsets is under the gun for a fart's worth of SO2. Meanwhile, 45 million flights per year add millions of tons of sulfur to the stratosphere and make acid rain. Shake my damn head. Link to the weather modification history report on Make Sunsets and, my Cirrus Clouds Matter page, which is my only chemtrail page, which is why I'm making an entire website out of it, because everything on that page needs to be updated. Let's be realistic. And then right now down in Florida, they're trying to pass a geoengineering and weather modification ban. So wouldn't you know, the Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, I'm probably butchering that. The free state of Florida's economy is built on sunshine. This activity is exactly what Elena Garcia, USA's legislation will prevent. Great to see Secretary Zeldin putting a stop to the left's climate agenda and keeping our air and water clean. I hope NOAA's next. We can agree on that, because NOAA does need to be next, especially their Project Sabre, and I could give you a laundry list of other reasons why. Now, it's interesting that he said the state of Florida's economy is built on sunshine. That really sparked a little memory. So I said, wow, almost identical claim made in 1958 and my EPA testimony in 2015. Darn Skyriders, jet trails, dim sun, Palm Springs gripes. Here's the article, and this is also from Weather Modification History. The contrails are not disappearing, but are breaking. Well, let's start here. As you know, Cooper Wired Son, our entire economy is dependent on tourist trade, which is predicated on our bright sunshine and warm climate. Recently, our sky has resembled a mob of exuberant skyriders performing an aerial circus. The contrails are not disappearing, but breaking down into a haze and creating a cloud-like appearance in the sky. With the unlimited expanse of barren, uninhabited land in the West, does such activity have to be centered over a resort area which is offering the visitor cloudless skies and unlimited sunshine? The Air Force so far is flabbergasted. December 6, 1958. 1 month later, the U.S. Air Force gives the village 2 choices: live with the trails or move. This is the reality of the situation that we're in, people, is that when you look at, again, weather modification history, when you realize that the Air Force said, "Let's face it, men," said a crisp-talking, star-studded general, "you'll either have to live with the vapor trails," that's right, they called them vapor trails at the time, not just contrails, "or move the city of Palm Springs. The resort area, it appears, is known as the Palm Springs intersection, the freeway interchange of all West Coast aerial traffic. These are called skyways. Just like we have highways, these are skyways. And all of them intersect, oh no, X's and O's and grid patterns in my sky." 1958. 1958. Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. That's why it's literally at the top of the page on weathermodificationhistory.com. These are the types of insights you're going to get from chemtrailfacts.com. With your support. Without your support, it's going to take 100 times longer. I work 40 hours a week. I will be putting this website together because people to this day do not even know this history. This is the kind of history, this is the kind of information that is necessary for people to be able to make informed decisions, and especially those who are trying to, fix this problem today. And I really hope that we do get a chance to fix this problem, but we shall see. Give me 1 second. Let me handle something. I thought I had it on here. I don't. Amazing. Skipping that. So what did Dane Wigington say? Guess what? You're about to hear me agree with Dane Wigington on something. Is the head of the U.S. EPA, Lee Zeldin, actually claiming to be legitimately investigating decades-long intentional covert climate engineering operations by targeting two Silicon Valley clowns, a tiny startup called Make Sunsets, that have launched a very limited amount of balloons from locations like Baja California and Nevada, each balloon with less than 10 grams of sulfur dioxide attached? I fully agree with that. Why are we talking about Make Sunsets? Like, bro, dude, man. Both Dane and I agree that this stinks. All right, I'm going to give you the negatives before I give you the positives. The negatives are that they're claiming, at least Lee Zeldin from the EPA is claiming that what Make Sunsets is doing is, dangerous under the Clean Air Act because sulfur dioxide, because sulfur kills people. Let's be realistic. Then he goes on to say, or a pathetically transparent attempt to distract the public from the global climate engineering Manhattan Project that continues to rage in our skies and wreak havoc with all the weather all over the world. Okay. Now, I mean, we all know that Dane is a doomer. That's not the type of language I would use, but people always say, "Jim, why do you always focus on jet fuel and plane pollution and all of those sort of things?" Because I've acknowledged that the CIA has a long history of doing covert operations. I believe that if anybody is actually geoengineering, it would be the CIA. But more importantly, if the CIA were geoengineering, it would not make clouds. This is the sad truth of where we're at today, that most people do not understand that if let me get this picture up real quick. Live stream theme. That if you're actually geoengineering, that you're not going to make clouds, okay? This is what the reality of the situation is. You can't make clouds in the stratosphere. Clouds do not form in the stratosphere. Clouds only form in the troposphere. If you do not understand that, fact check me. Go to your favorite AI, search the entire internet, And you're going to find that the only type of clouds that form in the stratosphere are called nacreous clouds, and they form at the uppermost extent of the stratosphere, and they look nothing like the chemtrails you're seeing. They look nothing like contrail-induced cirrus clouds. They are freaking invisible. In fact, they just make the sky milky white. So if there is a secret government program going on, which I say is entirely possible, and I go further and say, if anybody's doing it, I would bet my left you-know-what, cojones, that it's the CIA. My point is this. When Dane talks about secret government programs, I acknowledge that. Why? There's a long history of them. And you got John Brennan from the CIA saying, I'm very interested in stratospheric aerosol injection. And the United States has declared climate change a national security concern. What does that mean? That means that the CIA could literally classify any of this as a national security concern, and it would be, above top secret. You want to hear more about this? Go over to the ClimateViewer report, and you can read right here, like on this video where I'm talking to a guy who used to be in the CIA. When I explain it to him, he's nodding because he knows I'm right. So for all you people who go, Jim Lee, you're the jet fuel guy. No, I'm focusing on this. Why? Because Dane has been talking about secret government programs for freaking just as long as I've been talking about aviation-based pollution and geoengineering. He's got it covered. If you want to go looking for the needle, Dane's your guy. I'm not going to sit around and wait with my thumb up my butt and my hands under my, legs and do nothing. I'm trying to find a pragmatic solution. And I'm trying to teach people about how contrails form. Because guess what? Unlike what Dane's saying, where we disagree, most specifically, we've had beef in the past. I forgive Dane for any of that. Why? Because I do believe in, Jesus Christ. And I do believe in forgiveness. I do not hold grudges. If Dane were to ask me tomorrow, can we agree to disagree on these things but work together? I would gladly do it. It's not going to happen, guys. Not because it's my part, because it's not going to happen. So when a guy's telling you contrails don't exist, and I'm literally showing you that this is jet trails blocking out the sun of Palm Springs in 1958, just because you didn't see it in your neighborhood when you were a kid, I didn't see it when I was outdoors every single day from my childhood through Boy Scouts. Guess what? That doesn't mean that that was the case everywhere, because there were places where the sun was blocked out by contrails. And for anybody who's doubting that this tweet is legitimate or not, here is the EPA's website. And it is official. That is straight from the EPA's website. EPA seeks information from Make Sunsets. Their letter to Make Sunsets with the enclosures. So they're going to look into this. My suggestion to Lee Zeldin would be, go watch my freaking testimony from 2015 when I came to Washington, D.C. and I told them, you guys need to look into metal particulates coming out of planes. You guys need to look into planes making clouds. It's really that simple. And for those who aren't familiar with this, I've been trolling the hell out of people this week. Here, let me go. I'm going to bring up my cool link. Thank you very much to Jeff, our chief meteorologist at ClimateViewer Chat on Telegram. Anybody wants to, directly have discourse with our chief meteorologist, he is always willing to help in, it's under heads up display. Where's it at? Heads up display, Contrail finder. This is high clouds, pressure, PCAMs. This has got the radio sign. We'll just do this one. All right. So, interestingly enough, for the entire past week, all of the southern states of the United States have had no contrails whatsoever. And people are freaking out about this. And I'm going, there's no chemtrails. Why? Because I can actually go and check in real time. How do I do that? Jim, are you Delulu? Oh, what is this? Sorry, chat. You got to go for a minute. What does that say? Short contrails are possible. Okay? And I'm just basically clicking around on here. I'm over here in Texas. Short contrails possible. Let's go over here to California. Minimal contrails, short. Long, possibly persistent from 42,000 through 35,000 feet. This is based on what's called radiosonde data. So for the entire past week, even in Florida. Now let's see Florida today. Ooh. After Wednesday passed, oh, now they're back into the chemtrail world. Oh, it must be terrible. It must be terrible. And by the way, I also have on here actual cams where I can go and look and see, and it's nighttime right now, but you can literally pull these up and look for yourself. Oh, what are those? My chemtrails. So I can actually go and then visually verify whether or not they're actually there. On top of that, I have a different view of this, which if I just go real quick, Control B, and I go to this view, I can bring up the radiosonde data itself. So for right here, you can actually click on this. This will bring up a skew T-plot, and it'll actually show you what the measurements are for the Schmidt-Appelman criterion. These are weather balloons. This is temperature on the red line here, relative humidity on this line, and they are way too far apart to create any chemtrails whatsoever. So guess what that means? No contrails turning into cirrus clouds. Goes back to what I'm telling you. If the CIA is doing some secret geoengineering program, it would not be visible. And if it is visible, it most likely is a contrail. If it's a persistent contrail, that is not a contrail, that's a cirrus cloud. This is about semantics. People still don't understand this. I will keep explaining it till they do, and I will get better at explaining it until they all understand this. So needless to say, there's a lot more that will be taught about this. We went into great detail about this on this second international panel on environmental modification. If you guys want to check that out, it's over on ClimateViewer.news, my Substack. You can watch the entire presentation. You can jump directly to the part where I'm talking, or I suggest you watch the whole thing. Give them a watch. It's worth your time. I promise. All of the loud mouths who've said things they couldn't back up with any evidence whatsoever. Map from one of those experiments where in a poor black neighborhood where this is a elementary school, hurricanes into Cuba, causing drought in Cuba, weather warfare on Cuba. The CIA funded the climate intervention studies in 2017 called Climate Intervention. The CIA interviewed Dr. Alan Robach, who said, basically, I got a phone call from two men who said they were consultants for the CIA and they'd like to know if some other country was controlling our climate. Would we know about it? I told them I thought, yeah, but at the same time, I thought they were probably interested in if we could control somebody else's climate, could they detect it? This is straight from Alan Robach, who you're going to see in just a few minutes, is one of the most prominent geoengineering scientists on the planet. So if the CIA, which I like to call the Climate Intelligence Agency, has John Brennan at the Council on Foreign Relations saying, I'm very interested in stratospheric aerosol injection, well, that's kind of important because, and I want to point out for those who don't see it on the screen there, that article is on ClimateViewer News. Right there, you can see February 22nd, 2015. So for you freaking haters out there talking about Jim Lee, the jet fuel guy, you don't know jack. You Johnny come lately, you COVID kids come for my chemtrails. I want to restate that. To all the COVID kids who came for my chemtrails, if you guys have not recognized this by now, I'm going to point out what's going on. COVID ain't cool no more. Hell, it's not even banned anymore. I can say COVID, COVID, COVID. I don't have to say coof. I don't have to say any of those things. Why? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares about your mRNA. Nobody cares about any of that stuff anymore. Why? It's just not scary anymore. People have quit caring. And guess what happens when you built your whole career online on talking about that topic and all of your followers no longer care? You got to find something new to talk about. So guess what I've been seeing as a trend? All the COVID kids came for my chemtrails. Tell me, let me know in the comments. Have you noticed this trend? Have you noticed your favorite COVID kid who's come for my chemtrails? Somebody with a doctor in their name? You know who I'm talking about. Let me know in the comments. Because we basically have this large influx of influencers who've completely lost all attention from their audience on this. Literally covid.gov just dropped. In case anybody who did not see this, if you go to covid.gov, it redirects to the White House lab leak, the true origins of COVID-19. Am I scared to say this on my channel right now? Hell no. Why? They don't care anymore. They don't care. They're not in control. It's not even a thing to worry about. I will be absolutely shocked if anything happens to this video from me saying this. I have no fear whatsoever of it. And if they do, you know what? I'll tell you what. If you freaking decide to screw with this video, it doesn't even matter. It's on my Rumble. It's on my X account. I don't do this for the popularity. I don't do this to get rich. I do this for the truth. And the truth is, I just told you, I believe that there are probably secret government programs. And at the same time, I believe that there is a crisis right now of a couple of things. We already didn't trust the government. We definitely didn't trust mainstream media. After COVID, we don't trust the science. And that spawned an entire industry of COVID kids writing about it, talking about it. And that was really popular. I didn't do that. Why? First of all, I'm not a freaking doctor. Second of all, ain't my area of expertise. Third of all, I simply did not give a shit. Why? Because nobody in my household got that shot. It did not affect my life. Hell, it barely affected my life at all because in South Carolina, our government didn't even take the money from the federal government. So my kids were able to go to school on day one with no masks. I'm sorry if that wasn't your experience. You chose where you live. You have the right to vote with your feet. I suggest sunny South Carolina. A lot of people are flocking to Florida. I love it here. I live in the Garden of frickin' Eden. The food is good and the people are better. And I will probably forever be a South Carolinian because I am hella proud of my state where we actually have citizen legislators. They make a whopping $14,000 per year. It is definitely unique. That being said, the COVID kids have come for my chemtrails. And I've been watching all of you. So I want you to know this also, because a lot of people give me a lot of flack about this. My job, what am I here for? Am I some kind of agent? Because a lot of people have been throwing that word around lately. Agent Lee. You're a shell because you said Contrail. Okay, fools. Let's be real. Almost 20 years ago, I started mapping out cloud seeding projects and geoengineering projects and warning the world about this. At the time, it was not even part of a discussion. It was, it was on godlike productions in the hidden recesses of the internet. Single-handedly, I have driven this to the mainstream. I have been cited in peer-reviewed journals. I've been cited all over the place. I went and I met with my local GOP representatives and gave presentations to them directly. Not even a year after I went and met with those GOP reps, I saw Tucker Carlson live on Fox News talking about geoengineering. My wife ran in and she's like, holy crap, what's going on? It's happening. And then I saw Ben Shapiro talking about geoengineering. And now it's everywhere. Mission accomplished. And then I have to say, well, what's next? Clifford Carnicom. Don't get me started. He's going to be on the website. That story will be told. Clifford Carnicom with a degree in photogrammetry. We'll talk about it. It's not for this video. I'm not here to literally sling poo on everybody simultaneously. But I am here to fling a little bit of poo, so let's have fun with that. So for those who don't know, there was a website created, just popped up out of nowhere. And it turns out they were the COVID, the COVID kids. Come for my chemtrails. And I thought it was really interesting. You might find this interesting. It's called the Global Wellness Forum at globalwellnessforum.org. And what did I see when I went there? Stop geoengineering. Ending geoengineering practices and weather modifications. Stopping toxic dumping in our air, land, and water and food supply. Created by Marla Maples, Trump's ex-wife, and co-founder Sayer G. And what did I see when I scrolled? The page was much, they don't even have a capture of what I actually saw because none of this section was even here. The only thing that was even here was this section. Stop Geoengineering Council Leadership. Dane Wigington from geoengineeringwatch.org. Representative Monty Fritz. They misspelled his name. He is the representative who passed the geoengineering and weather modification ban in Tennessee. I've been in contact with him numerous times since that, initial banning. I have trolled many people in Tennessee and said, guess what? That ban stopped nothing. As a result of the Tennessee geoengineering ban, has anything changed in Tennessee whatsoever? Let's check the good old Ramby slider real quick. I'm just curious. What's going on in Tennessee? Let's go here. I'm going to go pick up. Let's go to dust. Give me 1 second. Not the Sierra dust. I want the Meteosat dust. EU Metsat. All right. And refresh Rooney, and let's see up here, and load it up. Boom. Why is it on Go 16? It should be on Go's 19. All right, there we go. Let's see what we got. So what are the conditions in Tennessee right now? They are looking kind of like this. Yep, and my chemtrails have not gone away. Okay? right there, you can see large linear lines. I could back this up, and obviously I'm just showing you what's live like right now at this very moment. But you can come through this and you can look, at the different color categories and what they mean. Very thin cloud, desert surface, dust, all that. My coffee's in the way. I can't even see the dang screen. Let me move that. But the point is, if I look at that and then I come over here and I look at Tennessee right now, what's going on in Tennessee? Let's take a look. Go here to menu. Let's go to Contrail Finder. Let's click on Tennessee. Close that. Boom. Oh, the whole state, long, possibly persistent, from 45,000 feet to 35,000 feet. Longer contrails possible. 34,000 to 32,000 feet. Oh, but this is just made up. Like, where are you even getting this from, Jim? Why are you tugging my leg? Well, go to menu, scroll all the way to the bottom and click on radio signs, which you can see right here. And you can look at the radio sign data yourself. So you look at the radio sign and, oh, what's that magic line? This is what happens when they are close together. And right about here at 45 degrees, negative 45 degrees Fahrenheit, from here on up, and you can see right here, this is 35,000 feet right there. That's the sweet spot, negative 45 at 32,000 feet. The relative humidity and the temperature are very close together. The dew point depression right here is 5 degrees. Understanding how to read radio sign data. Thank you. God bless you, Jeff, my meteorologist buddy, for teaching me all this stuff, for holding my hand and, giving me, total convective lift and what all these numbers mean down here. But for everybody else that you're new to this, you can literally go to install Windy plugins and then install the Contrail Finder, click on Contrail Finder, and then just simply click anywhere and it will tell you, are you going to have a chemtrail day or not? And then you're going to have to ask yourself why. Because right now I'm looking at high clouds, which are high thin cirrus clouds. Minimal contrails may be seen. Oklahoma, Kansas, short, minimal. Cheyenne, Wyoming, minimal, short. There are no chemtrails there. In fact, I will bet anybody. You go and you look at this and you test it. Test it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. You test it for yourself. And you hop around and you look at what it actually is predicting, and you look at the map and you compare it to where the high thin cirrus are. Another way you can do this is you can go to earth.nullschool.net and you can basically turn this sucker on relative humidity, 250 HPA, that's hectopascals. And guess what? It lines up almost perfectly. Where the humidity is where the clouds are going to form. You're not going to you will not hear this on any other channel on YouTube. You will not hear this from any of the fear porn pushers out there. Why? They don't want you to understand this. Look at the settings. You can just check it right here. It's set on air, wind, 250 hectopascals, relative humidity, RH. And you can pretty much guarantee that if you're seeing this blue area right here, it's showing right here. Relative humidity, 100%. That means there's 100% chance that any plane flying through that altitude is going to make a contrail that sticks around and turns into a cirrus cloud. I think I've made my point. But using multiple different sources for this, makes bugs sound tasty. What are y'all talking about? Stella, what are you doing? What are you doing, Stella? Stella's one of the admins in my chat. Guys, subscribe to Stella Q. She's in the chat right there. Just click on her name, go to her channel. Jeff and Stella created a podcast called Whether or Not, which will teach you these things. Take the time to learn this. Learn some atmospheric science. Learn some meteorology. You do not have to be a genius. You do not need a degree to understand this. It is very helpful. So please go over there and check her out. So anyway, back to the story. So I see this with the Global Wellness Forum. I understand that there are some health freedom advocates, and I immediately translate that to my COVID kids. And I see Dane Wigington's name on there, and I'm immediately a little bit perturbed. I'm like, okay. So here's how the story goes. Eventually, a friend of mine, his name's John Fleetwood, he wrote an article about why Tennessee's geoengineering ban was not working. And he mentioned the Clean Air Act and how basically the EPA's Clean Air Act, it's not even part of the discussion. Because at the end of the day, states cannot regulate planes. States cannot ground planes. The Federal Aviation Act says no state shall impede interstate commerce of airlines, meaning for all of you out there thinking that you're going to pass a state ban on geoengineering and that somehow your governor or attorney general will be able to order the National Guard to go up and ground a chemtrail plane, they cannot. That would be a serious federal violation and would immediately, let's just say, the proverbial crap would hit the fan. Secondly, the Clean Air Act states that no state shall set regulations on aviation emissions that do not mirror those set by the EPA. P.S. The EPA set regulations for sulfur in jet fuel at 3,000 parts per million. Let me break this down for you. In tractor trailers, 18-wheelers, whatever you want to call them, they use diesel fuel. The regulation was 500 parts per million until the EPA said, well, that's causing a lot of sulfur pollution that can kill people and harm people, cause respiratory illnesses. We need to stop that. So we're going to switch everybody to ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. All my truckers out there, hoorah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This ultra low sulfur diesel fuel, the new EPA regulation is 0.15 part per million. 0.15 part per million. But jet aircraft can have 3,000 parts per million of sulfur in their jet fuel. Anybody see a problem with this? So as promised, I will point out that the good part of this is that Lee Zeldin is saying something that nobody, and I mean nobody, will tell you. Injecting sulfur dioxide. Let me know in the comments how many people ever, and I know this because I've been doing this 20 years, and I am if you fart on the internet, I can smell it. And nobody ever in the chemtrail community has even mentioned sulfur, let alone sulfur dioxide, that sulfur is the number one ingredient for geoengineering stratospheric aerosol injection. Always has been, always will be. There are literally 5 chemicals that have been proposed for geoengineering to block the sun, to mimic volcanoes. Sulfur, calcium, aluminum, titanium, kind of off the boards right now, and diamond dust. 5. Sulfur is number 1. Calcium has become number 2, and aluminum is number 3. I'm just saying. Now, in any chemtrail ingredient meme from all of the morons on the internet, have you ever heard them mention calcium or sulfur? Ever? No, you have not. You cannot find it. It's not even part of the discussion. which tells me one thing. It tells me that these fools don't know anything about geoengineering. Either they don't know or they're lying to you. This is the point I've been making for 15 freaking years. That planes burning jet fuel put sulfur into the stratosphere at 60,000 feet, even though they're not flying at 60,000 feet. Why? Because of atmospheric science, because of weather, because of understanding the mixing zones. Like the Hadley cell, the Ferrel cell, the polar cell. If you don't understand anything about weather, those three words I just said to you, they don't mean anything to you. That's the problem. So while there are people out there saying there's no such thing as contrails, they're spraying us with aluminum to kill us, barium, strontium, aluminum, barium, strontium, aluminum, barium, strontium, all damn day. Nobody, except for me, is making any videos talking about sulfur. So the good news from this is Lee Zeldin said the quiet part out loud. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this will change any of the narrative in the chemtrail world about what's going on in our skies? Do you think that might just possibly change people's opinion if they understand what geoengineering actually is? Whitening the sky, not making clouds. It never was about making clouds. People don't understand this. And that makes them highly frustrated. So, over the last month, I, was very interested in this group, Global Wellness Forum. Pops up out of nowhere. I recognize two names. I'm not familiar with Danielle Goodrich. So I have nothing positive nor negative to say about her. Seems like a nice enough lady. Have had some interactions with her. All have been good. So really nothing bad to say about her. Monty Fritz, God-fearing man. Seems like a gentleman. Fellow Southerner. Love the guy. Heart's in the right place. Dane Wigington, we disagree on some things. We both do want the skies to be clear. Let's be clear about that. I think we agree on that. So here's how the story goes. John Fleetwood writes an article about how Tennessee's skies have not changed, and that's because of the Clean Air Act. I go poke John, and you guys should check him out, by the way. I'm going to give him a shout out. I should, because I would be remiss if I did not. Here's the article. Tennessee says it can't enforce chemtrail ban because federal Clean Air Act enforced by FAA won't let them. August 19, 2024. Now, when I read this, I was like, A, who is this John Fleetwood guy? And B, how the hell did he get this so right? So I poked him on X. We quickly became pretty good friends. And we were having discussions on the phone regularly. In less than 3 weeks, this is a record for me, guys. This is a record for me. In less than 3 weeks, I took John from full-on chemtrail believer to contrail predictor. In less than 3 weeks. And because I convinced John, I didn't convince John. I gave him the tools to convince himself. And John basically was looking at this Windy app, and he saw up in Pennsylvania that during that time, there were no contrails. In fact, the entire state, like right now, you want to test this? Call one of your homeboys in Denver, Colorado, and ask them how their sky was today. If you know somebody, do that. But yes, John's a good friend of mine now, and I consider him to be a friend. So check him out, johnfleetwood.substack.com. I'm going to drop the link in the chat just because, Sharing is caring. That's the way I think about it. So I end up talking to John, and in record time convince him that he should try these things. I've explained the entire history of all of this. And Donald Trump's plan blot out sun opinion. What? All right, I'm going to have to bookmark that because I would find this absolutely amazing. I'll bookmark it. Somebody over Hemp Car over on Rumble just sent this one in. So I'll mention it with a grain of salt. Haven't read it. Donald Trump's plan to blot out sun. Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, but if it's verifiable, we'll see, if there's any truth to this whatsoever. But no problem, Hemp Car. Appreciate you. Send me the link. All information is good information until it's not. So trust but verify. I'm booking mark that. I'll put that in the top of my to-do list. Put that over here, top of to-do list. Boom. There we go. You saw it. I bookmarked it. And I shared it already. We'll look at that later. So anyway, here's how the story goes. I talked to John. He goes and he tests it himself. He sees there's no contrails forming in Pennsylvania. He calls some friends up that are there. He says, ask them, how's the how's the weather there? And $5 donation on Rumble from Hemp Car. Thanks God for your work, and thank you, God bless you, Hemp Car, for the for the Rumble over there. I appreciate it, man. And he goes and he proves it to himself by, calling somebody and they're like, yes, I have perfectly blue skies overhead. And then he texts me back and he's like, well, you know what? You got me. You got me, dude. I'm convinced. Like I wanted to doubt everything you're saying. I believe you. And then he tells me, I actually know Sayer G, one of the guys from the Global Wellness Forum. I'm like, shut up. That's crazy. And he's like, I'm texting him right now about you. And I expected nothing to come of this, but then it did. So then Sayer reaches out to me and we begin our dialogue. And it's much like the dialogue I had with John Fleetwood. I don't really believe this. What about this video? What about this, X post? How do you explain this? I explained it. This built up and built up till finally, even, he's sending me texts from other people and he's like, but this person said this and sent me this picture. What is this picture? And it was a Malaysian C-130 with 4 pipes coming out of the back of it. And I said, that is a Malaysian cloud seeding operation by the military in Malaysia. And he's like, how do you know this? I was like, because when I tell you every pump and pipe that's ever been posted on the internet, I know where it came from. Why do you think that I'm making chemtrailfacts.com? Because I'm going to put every pump and pipe that I've ever seen on there and where it came from. So he sends me this thing. I end up going to Wayback Machine, show him the exact page it came from, use 10 eyes to reverse image search the thing. Then I show him all the things. And then the final nail in the coffin was, here's your original photo. And yeah, that may look like an American flag. Here's the Malaysian flag. And he's like, damn, you're good, bro. So we built a quick rapport, and apparently, he has pretty close ties to RFK. And, he's suggested that I work with RFK on the Chemtrail, Taskforce. I sent him a, executive summary of what I would do if I got the job. After that, I was asked to actually submit my resume. And then, a couple weeks went by and I got the answer that I expected. No, RFK is actually looking for somebody, preferably a lawyer with previous government experience. And I said to Sarah, so RFK wants a swamp creature to fight the swamp. Furthermore, he wants somebody who knows nothing about this topic, who's a lawyer and a swamp creature to fight the swamp. So to all those who believe that there is currently a chemtrail task force, there is not. This was literally 2 weeks ago. I am not going to be working with RFK, obviously. I wish him well. I don't expect much. He does have a very full plate. I'll give him that. When you're taking on big pharma and big ag all at the same time, try taking on big airline and the CIA. Good luck. I'm not here to like poop on the parade, but guys, I'm telling you, it doesn't look real good. The outlook does not look real good. I am not convinced that RFK or Trump are serious about this. And I definitely don't think they understand how this works. How the sulfur ends up in the stratosphere, all of that. I'm not going to be one of those naysayers, Faber lingers. Faber Lignarius says, I don't expect much out of RFK either. LOL, sold out faster than a punk band. Dang, bro. I mean, I don't know. I won't say, because I've been called a freaking agent so many times, like, I will never say that about anybody. I will not say that Dane has sold out, that Dane's an agent or a shill or any of that kind of stuff. We can disagree. And, the reason why I disagree with him is not because he's a federal agent. Like, you really have to have a different level of crazy in you to immediately you're saying something I disagree with, therefore you must be paid opposition. That's never my first thought. It's not even usually my last thought. The pragmatist in me, the logical, being that lives inside this head goes, well, maybe they're a narcissist. Maybe they've built a brand over the years, saying there's no such thing as contrails. It can only be chemtrails, when very clearly, that wasn't always the case. Very provably so. How do I get out of this? Get back out of here. It's real interesting to me. I mean, the fact that, let me see if I can find this real quick. Because when you see this, it kind of makes you wonder. It really does. I don't know. You tell me. Does this make you wonder? Diminished solar charge capacities due to persistent jet contrails. By Dane Wigington, August 18th, 2007. Now, this is the guy who says contrails don't exist. Yet, the bottom line is that I have been unable at many times during the year to produce adequate solar output due to jet trails alone. There's no consistency to these periods of persistent contrails whatsoever, nor is there any logical explanation other than patent such and such. I think that's the powder contrail patent. I can find no other explanation for these inconsistencies based on weather conditions and humidity. So at the very least, at the very least, in 2007, Dane Wigington believed that his solar panels were being blocked by persistent jet contrails. Now, in the dimming, he says contrails don't exist. And if you go to Geoengineering Watch, a little too fast on the fingers there. My God. If you go to Geoengineering Watch and you type in high bypass. Bruh, did he delete it? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. I would be really shocked if he actually deleted this, because it's still there. There it is. High bypass turbofan jets, geoengineering, and the Contrail lie, 2017. 10 years exactly after he said contrails were blocking his solar panels. Now he says that's just not possible because these engines cannot create contrails. We all know this is bullshit, guys. He knows this is bullshit. And I could show you and prove that to you just by going to Wayback Machine and showing you that. But let's just get back to the story because I'm kind of long-winded. I'm Southern. I'm long-winded enough as it is. So I end up meeting Sarah G., who is a member of, this, council leadership team. I believe that he would be on that page. And that's him right there. Sarah G., founder and chairman of the board. Now, for the record, I think the guy's a stand-up guy. He's been nothing but, a straight-up guy. Like every conversation I've had with him. And as a result of my conversing with him and explaining my positions, explaining what geoengineering is, what it isn't, how Bill Gates is involved in contrail avoidance and steering when clouds are created, how jet exhaust ends up in the stratosphere, how that's whitening the sky, how 10,000 black carbon particles per cubic centimeter were found at 60,000 feet. All the evidence. He too said, well, you know what? There's some there. So then he posts it to, he watches the second international panel on environmental modification. This was seen worldwide in over 200 countries. This was actually streamed live on television in Italy. He watched this presentation that I gave, and then I didn't ask him to do this. He decided he was going to post it to his Substack. Now, let's just say there are 58 likes on this and 340 comments. I think that tells you all I really need to tell you about this article. Because the haters came out. And what did I do? I literally went to my Telegram group and I was like, backup request, troll army invading. And and I'm going to tell you, man, Stella and Jeff and the crew were like on it, like flies on shit. They were literally every single comment, there was a battle. And guess what? Every battle was won by the Spartans, like 300. The Spartans from ClimateViewer chat on Telegram came in there and they left all the Syrians on the floor. Geoengineering Free Canada, that's Bettina. Stella Q was there. Ed was there. Jeff was there. So many more. Cheerio. Liz. Like it was just glorious. And God bless you guys, man. God bless you guys for having my back. Because this turned into a battle of the century. If you guys want to go see it, y'all want to see a global meltdown in the chat, go check it out. It's on sarg.substack.com. So on April 7th, he wrote this article. And very quickly, this drew the ire of Dane Wigington. And I'm not going to get into, the personal politics of it. I'm just going to let you know that I know that Dane Wigington was very perturbed by this article and mentioning Rened Senham, myself, and Jay Reynolds, former, debunker from Metabunk, right-hand man to Mick West, who's also in our Telegram chat, which is absolutely epic. So Jay came on and he talked about the history of liars in the chemtrail community. That's right, I said it. All the liars who made up this story that people are being fed every day today, that people don't know the history of these liars. I want you guys to know this. I literally have William Thomas, his first article he ever wrote, and his first 6 appearances on Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM in 1999, when they invented the chemtrail story. Facts. And I have the audio archives, the MP3s. You will be able to hear them for yourself for the first time in over 2 decades. So we can go all the way back to the fools that started this crazy stuff that we're into today. I mean, we've come a long way. From ethylene dibromide with, William Thomas to Morgellons with, Clifford Carnicom to coal fly ash from the Harp Report, and then J. Marvin Herndon jumping on that bandwagon. We'll go through the whole damn timeline of everything that, people have been saying. Just the bottom line. And then we're going to go through all the facts. Both what the government's capable of, Air Force, carbon black dust, modifying the weather, receipts, newspaper articles, contrails, blocking out the sky, receipts. We're going to have all that. So anyway, that's very interesting. And the comment section, it was a bloody murder up in here. I mean, seriously, 340 comments, just absolute mayhem, absolute wrecked destruction. It was just so glorious. And you can see Cheerio, she's from the SUBSTACK. I mean, there's Jay Reynolds, just the team carrying the load. Hugh Boone, another one of my favorite people on Substack, always dropping a whole lot of knowledge, even checking me on some of the stuff that, I know about carbon black. I actually want to interview this guy. He's so damn interesting. Human being, you still don't understand Jim's point of view. That's why, that's why I'm making chemtrailfacts.com. Because the shit is complicated, bro. I mean, let's just be real. The shit is complicated. So I totally understand why you don't understand my point of view, because I've been saying this stuff for 20 freaking years. I know more about weather modification and geoengineering and space weather modification like HAARP than anybody on the freaking internet, period. I have openly, multiple hundreds of times said, I will debate anyone, anytime, anywhere. So if I'm a shill sitting in this mobile home, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it despite the fact that, some cats may get real twisted about this. I live in the finest double wide the Illuminati ever paid for. Psych. My dad owns a trailer park and I own this mobile home. But it's still funny, right? That's a joke. Can we still make jokes around here? Or is that not cool anymore either? So the point being, Dane Wigington got real big butthurt about this article and Sayer G, putting it out there. And promptly, Sayer tried to, he wrote another article, Cobwebs and Chemtrails, about the Hopi Indians. Put that in chat too. And in this one, he tried to kind of like bridge the gap, because I told him, he asked me the question. He's like, I mean, would you actually work with Dane Wigington? And I said, yes. I've tried hundreds of times. Many, many times have I said, dude, can we stop this beef where you do all this stuff behind the scenes with whisper campaigns? Because secret, Dane can't say my name. You want to know why Dane can't say my name? Because if Dane says my name, then people will find out about me. And being one of the most shadow banned people on the internet, he can't have that. So what does Dane do? He basically says, I want nothing to do with the Global Wellness Forum anymore, because Sayer G is out there putting Jim Lee's stuff out. And the reason I know this for sure is because within less than 12 hours of his face being removed from the Global Wellness Forum where it is today, that's right, you seen it. There's the link. Can't make this stuff up. Dane, I hope you're watching. Bitch, I know what you did. So, let's do a little before and after. Now you see him. Let me go back. Now you see him. Now you don't. So, he didn't want to play anymore. He's like, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Human being keeps asking, are we being poisoned? That's all I care about. All right. I don't normally just like break with what I'm doing to answer a question, but I'm going to. I'm going to do this just for you, brother man. All right. So here's what you do. You go to climateviewer.com/Cirrus Clouds Matter. This is the only page I have right now about chemtrails. I'm going to be making an entire website because this was originally published in 2013 and last updated in 2017. It's out of date. It does not have all my information, but you can watch my PowerPoint presentation on this, and you can download the PDF or the PowerPoint yourself. Watch the video, watch the PowerPoint presentation, download it, do your own research, as ADB is saying right now. But to be clear, are you being poisoned? I mean, what else can I say other than this? These are metals detected in jet exhaust. In 2013, the very first article I ever wrote about chemtrails, I had already figured out that aluminum, barium, and strontium are in jet fuel, in jet exhaust, creating nanoparticles of metal. Where did I get this information from? I bring receipts, unlike other people. I don't just talk out of my ass. The detected metallic compounds were internally mixed with soot particles. The most abundant metals in the exhaust were chromium, iron, molybdenum, sodium, calcium, aluminum. Also detected were vanadium, barium, cobalt, copper, nickel, lead, magnesium, manganese, silicon, titanium, zirconium. This is from Chemical Characterization of Freshly Emitted Particulate Matter from Aircraft Exhaust Using Single Particle Mass Spectrometry. This was literally a plane on a tarmac on the ground, and they set up a sniffer behind it to find out what particles were coming out of the jet engine. These are, dude, bro, man. Are you saying these are commercial jets? Both. All jets. Commercial jets and military jets use the same type of fuel. The only difference is for you to turn Jet A, which is what commercial planes fly on, which is what this test showed, was Jet A jet fuel being tested. In the military, to turn Jet A into JP8 or Jet Propulsion 8, Jet Propellant 8, they just put additives in it. There are military grade additives that are required by NATO countries to turn Jet A jet fuel into JP8. That's it. So they're all using the same type of jet fuel. There's no real difference. Okay? I think I made myself clear. So to answer your question, is this poisonous? Well, here's the rub, bro. Jet exhaust in the stratosphere. Though airborne, black carbon is known to dissipate and settle down in a few months under the influence of rain is unlikely to travel upwards of 4 kilometers. However, a group of scientists, including the Indian Institute of Science and ISRO Vikram Sarabhi Space Center, say they now have evidence of such particles, that's black carbon particles, soot, that I just mentioned. Internally mixed with soot particles are all these metals. They found those soot particles at 18 kilometers in the stratosphere, and there's about 10,000 of them per cubic centimeter. Given the shape and location of these particles, they argue it could only derive from emissions of aviation fuel. So what does that mean? 60,000 feet, 18 kilometers. That jet exhaust is ending up at 60,000 feet, and that is coated in sulfur. So you have the soot, the black carbon, with all the metals in it, and wrapped in sulfuric acid, which causes acid rain in the troposphere and causes whitening of the sky and the stratosphere. It is geoengineering, intentional or not. Do I look up in South? Is that a rhetorical question? Do I look up in South Carolina? All right, now I'm going to treat you as a hostile witness. Bitch, I've been doing this 20 years. I have a Nikon P900. I have flight tracking software none of you on the internet have access to, in addition to Flight Radar 24 and ADS-B Exchange. I have been able to track every single flight that I have ever seen leaving a contrail that turned into a cirrus cloud. And at the end of the day, every single one of them met the Schmidt-Appelman criterion. I have never seen a chemtrail in my life. So I'm going to now ignore you. You got your question answered. Is it poisonous? Frequency, waves, and clouds. Dude, at this point, you've gone beyond stupid. I didn't know you were a fucking retard, or I wouldn't have engaged with you. But frequency wave clouds have been seen as early as 1800s. There are literally photos of wave clouds from the early 1900s before there were any radars. You clearly are in the shallow end of the pool. This is like Chemtrail College, not Chemtrail Elementary School. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ, these people. And you know what? You know what's funny is that asshole probably is leaving like, oh yeah, now I've proven that he's a shill for sure. When in reality, all he proved was he doesn't know anything about this topic whatsoever. And that's the problem. There is a serious lack of education, or at least curiosity about this. Have a little more patience with someone who's new to this. Fair enough. And you're not even a liberal. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a Republican or a liberal. I have never been affiliated with any political party. You know why? The weather does not give one fuck about your political beliefs, your religious beliefs. It does not care. So anybody screwing with the weather is harming everybody equally. So that's why I don't talk about politics on this channel. You want politics? There's 100 channels for that. I'm not that guy. I'm a science nerd. And I'm a conspiracy enthusiast. And when I look into things, I use a pragmatic, approach to things. I want solutions. And I will kind of end with this. Anybody who's out there scaring you on a daily basis, who's not trying to offer you a solution or at least come up with some kind of solution, they are not an activist. They're an infotainer. Just saying. So one of the other big things that, I really had to deal with over the last month was the betrayal of a friend. Was a friend. And this particular lady, she confronted the chemtrail pilots. No, they weren't chemtrail pilots. They were cloud seeding pilots. And, a lot of people, basically begged me to make a video about this person. She goes by the name Mellow Cat. And I decided I was going to rise above. Because even though she was in my Telegram chat for over half a year, even though I did everything I could to help this woman, when she advocated for violence against the Weather Modification Incorporated cloud seeding pilots that she confronted, and then went on a world tour of podcasts, all stating the girl who confronted chemtrail pilots. Her name is Catherine. Sorry. She goes by Mellow Cat. Shit, I'll pimp her. mellowcat.substack.com. Go subscribe. And I was going to leave it alone. It's like I'm not going to talk about it. But you know what's better than going and making a video and raging on a person? What's better than that is when a good friend stands up for you. And I want to personally thank Francis Leader for doing that. Coming from me, it just feels like punching down. And my wife always says, you know what? Punching down is bad. And I agree with that. I very much agree with that. But I'd like to share this with you for anybody who out there, because this was sent to me in many different places and really disrupted a lot of the stuff I've been was working on over the last month. And I feel like I'm in a good place. And Catherine, I forgive you. Even though you stabbed me in the back simply for me pointing out that you should attack ideas, not people, that because of your newfound fame, you should take a new level of responsibility and understand that advocating for violence is never the answer. And that led to her going on a personal attack agenda, blocking my phone, both of my phone numbers, which we've been talking on for months. I thought about putting a whole article together and putting her audio text messages to me and proving that, I was literally helping this person. She stabbed me in the back, but none of that's even necessary because a good friend of mine, Francis Leader, said it better than anybody else could have. And I absolutely love her for this. Dear Mellow Cat, I was well aware of Jim Lee at ClimateViewer's comments about your post. He was concerned that you are encouraging others to confront your word pilots. What you call confrontation may not be what a big burly man might call confrontation, so I agree with Jim's concerns. I have been an activist since 1967, and believe me, confrontation is not sensible. In the UK, we confronted the US military and the British police over the storage of nuclear weapons at Greenham Common. Men tend to get aggressive, women don't. This is why we had to make our peace camps strictly women only. Our men could not be trusted to stay passive under pressure. real quick. I see you in chat. You're not going to get away with it. Chemtrail debunker. Yes, the website's called Chemtrail Facts. I offered people suggested that I debate you. I messaged you. Your condescending ass said, if you have something to say it in my comments. Because I'm not a bitch with no life who just frequents Facebook all day long, I'm not going to be commenting on your Facebook page because A, you don't have a face, you don't have a voice, and you don't mean a damn thing to me. And B, the offer is still on the table. After I create chemtrailfacts.com, I will gladly invite you to bring your ass on the internet with your face, with a microphone, and we'll gladly debate every single point. And if you can debunk a damn thing I'm saying, I'll give you every opportunity to do it. But you better look into who I am before you take that offer. Because trust me, there are no takebacks on the internet. I found your video to be uncomfortable, but increasing interesting as I read a number of the comments it generated. You certainly have kicked up quite a hate fest against Jim, haven't you? I admire strong women, but not when they behave in such a way as to intimidate alternative viewpoints. You will not intimidate me. The first inference that I would like to correct is the strange suggestion that Jim has a misogynist tendencies. He does not. He has collaborated for many years with highly respected writer called Alana Freeland and has always treated female supporters in precisely the same way he treats the males. You should read Alana's books if you want a full grounding in geoengineering. To conclude that Jim is some sort of agent simply because his extensive website has been cited by authorities such as the UN is shockingly naive. My work on the black nobility has been cited more than 850 times by historians, scholars, academics, and politicians worldwide. Does that suggest that I'm an agent of some nefarious organization? No, it does not. It proves that the work has been considered valuable by people who are in positions of potential power and can make a difference in this world. Jim is an authentic American man. He has a wicked sense of humor, and he does not suffer fools gladly. I love that. Francis, I do not suffer fools gladly. F-A-F-O. This woman's got a writing. The symbols he chooses to use as his logo and on his maps are hilarious. He's not afraid to mock the international crime syndicate, and for me, that is one of his most wonderful qualities. A lot of people get freaked out by my eyeball logo. You don't get it. And, I don't think you ever will get it. But for those who don't get it, I literally addressed this several years ago on my website, and I'll just quickly show you guys exactly what I mean. Pages, all news posts, logo. Literally, you could just go to climateviewer.com, go to pages, go to all posts, all news posts is right here. Type in logo, and it says about Jim Lee, Climate Viewer's all-seeing eye logo and symbolism and graphics. And what do you see? My entire freaking history. Jim Lee, globe and all-seeing eye logo, paid piece of shit. What's up with the all-seeing eye logo? Okay, maybe it was one thing with the eye logo, but then there's that t-shirt. I literally was wearing this t-shirt, which was a Legend of Zelda t-shirt. And that's when I had it. I was just like, dude, if you don't know what Legend of Zelda is, I cannot help you. Okay? People take this stuff way too seriously. So It's literally my entire history. Like, this is me in my local newspaper as a Boy Scout leading a search and rescue. I was the map guy. Anybody surprised by that Jim Lee was the map guy at the very bottom here? That's me in Boy Scouts with a map. Anybody surprised by that? I'm not. This is when I went into the Air Force Junior ROTC. I went to Air Force at Lackland Air Force Base. I didn't make it. You know why? Because as you can clearly see in the picture, I broke my freaking knee and ended up in med hold for 6 months. And then they said that I was never even there. Anyway, so then I became a Grateful Dead head, went to Fish concerts and all that. Got a job in graphics, doing video game design, working with Industrial Light and Magic. This is the company I worked for, Positron Publishing. I designed video games that did an entire video game mod for Rainbow Six Rogue Spear in 2000, Unreal Tournament here. And then obviously, for those that don't know, I did a little bit of anonymous activism. Let's just say that. So my nickname was Resonated. And those of you like Frances was around for the Resonated days. She knew me then. With Resonated's Revolution, the Radiation Database, which was resonated.com, my original first version. Yes, I was a Deadhead, Tom. Went to several, Grateful Dead concerts, Widespread Panic, Fish, String Cheese Incident, Jazz Mandolin Project, all that stuff. All that good stuff. And, just logos, man. All kinds of different logos. And, Operation Clarity, the end of chemtrails, which turned into the Environmental Modification Accountability Act when I still had a website called Terraforming Incorporated, terraforminginc.com. Other logos I did for other people, their own podcasts and stuff like that. And yeah, then I chose this eyeball. Do you know why I chose this eyeball? This is really going to surprise a whole lot of people because they still don't know this word. This word is surveillance. What is surveillance? It's this. This is why I chose my logo. Undersight. Inverse oversight is surveillance at high level, e.g., citizen undersight, being reciprocal to a congressional oversight committee or the like. Inverse surveillance, a subset of surveillance with a particular emphasis on the watchful vigilance from under. Surveillance, government, Jim Lee, ClimateViewer, surveillance, watching the watchers. If you don't get it by now, you never will. If you have to ask, y'all never know. Talking about them funkers who don't be told to go. So the point is, I chose it for a reason. Why? It's Climate Viewer. I view with my eyes. What am I viewing? I'm watching. What am I watching? The government. Everything. I'm watching the sky. I'm watching everything. I'm watching what you people say online. Perception audits. I'm watching what I say. Perception management. I'm doing everything I can to watch. It's called surveillance. Sous-veillance, like a sous chef. Spelled the same way. Look it up. The next time somebody asks me about the eyeball logo, I'm going to be like, asked and answered. It's on my website. If you don't get it, I don't care. But apparently, Francis loves that and thinks that it's hilarious. He's not afraid to mock the International Crime Syndicate, and for me, that's one of his most wonderful qualities. You just don't seem to get the joke, Cat. Some of the anecdotal comments you've received on your video are true. Jim does challenge people who produce internet content, which he knows is inaccurate. For example, Raphael O'Neil was convinced that NexRad was complicit in weather control, and Jim tried very hard to explain why that could not possibly be the case. Dane Wigington openly plagiarized Jim's epic weather modification history during the early years and did not acknowledge the source. That is very bad form and resulted in a major bone of contention which has never really ended. Meanwhile, Jim soldiered on, determined to tackle geoengineering and weather modification legally. Let's face it, Kat, 10 years of bleeding online and attending council meetings was not getting us anywhere fast, was it? Jim proposed changes in the laws for this and had to appeal to the authority all the way to the United Nations because this is not a local problem. It is global. Geoengineering is not a local problem. It is a global problem. I appreciate that your feelings are hurt, but you must understand that us old-timer activists know a thing or two. We want you young people to join our campaigns, but we also want information to be accurate and your actions to be effective. Leaning on giants who have given decades to the issues would save you a whole lot of time. Don't you agree? Well, she didn't. And I'm not going to play what she wrote, what she says, because she goes into a whole rant about, me and Renette. And then she tells, right about here, she tells everybody, go buy guns, go buy bullets because the system's rigged. I'm not violent. Go buy guns, buy bullets. And this is the original. Jim Lee, controlled opposition or spineless turd. And she said, you cannot disguise your duper's delight smirk. I think we have seen enough now to know your modus operandi, and for being involved is to attack and replace genuine activists. Thanks for adding your offensive video to my post here, and it will give my subscribers the opportunity to see how manipulative and divisive you are. And then she goes on to repeat everything that she had said in her video. And Francis said, calm down, darling. You're merely repeating yourself and overlooking that I have addressed every one of your exaggerated points in my original post here. I do not intend to waste my time reiterating points I've already covered. I recommend you reread the original post and try to see it for what it really is. Advice from an old hand to a newbie. And of course, she just wasn't having it. And it just goes on and on. Like, that's literally what it turns into. So then she attacks Francis for trying to just basically save her some skin. But what did she say that really set all this off was that I don't want to see women succeed. And that, I'm a UN shill. And then she showed this page. And maybe some of you might believe that I'm a UN shill when I show you this, because maybe you didn't know this. I'm on the United Nations. I mean, clearly doesn't that look like Jim Lee is a UN shill? I mean, this is evidence right here. Smoking gun evidence. You guys, you got me right now. I'm a UN shill. I mean, it's right there on your screen. You can see it with your own eyes. What she didn't show was this. UN Spider, which is basically like their web crawler for the internet, they cited in 2012, the very first year I created ClimateViewer.com and I created ClimateViewer Mobile and ClimateViewer 3D. They cited it as a credible GIS real-time monitoring visualization of data. And particularly right now they have global volcanoes and hurricane tracker turned on in the picture they took. And they say, satellites and sensors, Aqua, Terra, Suomi, SMAP, GCOM, Meteosat, GO16, disaster risk management response recovery, use cases, tutorial. So they literally link to my tutorial video. Is this even still up? Yeah. Track hurricane track Hurricane Florence with the new ClimateViewer 3D. And this is actually from September 8th, 2018. Interesting. So they've updated this since then. Use cases. And this is from, George Stiller showing how to combine different maps, to teach you how to use things. So let's be clear, Kat, when you go and you show stuff, and it's like she said at the very beginning, whenever the UN cites me, that doesn't mean, it's right here. To conclude that Jim is some sort of agent simply because his extensive website has been cited by authorities such as the United Nations is shockingly naive. Guys, that's where we're at. Like, if people disagree on the internet at this point, what they mainly are doing is they're going, I don't trust you because you're saying things that I don't already believe. And in fact, what you're saying is challenging what I believe. And if you're challenging what I believe, instead of thinking there is a possibility you might be wrong or that somebody might have a difference of opinion, if your first go-to is this person is a paid shill, then you are addicted to fear porn. You are paranoid. I cannot help you with that. You might want to seek help elsewhere off the internet. Unplug, take a deep breather, woo-saw, talk to Jesus. I don't know how to help you. Okay? I'm not here for that. But to be clear, am I here to criticize people online? Yeah. What did she say? Some of the anecdotal comments you received on the video are true. Jim does challenge people who produce internet content which he knows to be inaccurate. So let me be as clear as I can on this. I will be as clear as I can on this, and this is where I'm going to end. My job, as I see it, my calling, is to gather as much information as possible, to convince myself of what I believe to be is true, to put it into educational websites to help other people understand complex ideas. I don't just do this by writing articles. I don't do this just by making videos. I make infographics. I make interactive timelines. I make huge historical vaults of information. Hell, for the first time, I made a database. Like, that's even new one for me. For those who don't know about it, you can go to weathermodificationhistory.com, go right here to frequently asked question pages, go to patents, and you'll see that I've updated my patent list that Dane Wigington stole that she mentioned in there. And now I have 1,181 patents. Right, currently, I have about 300 or 400 more to add. And you can come to it and type in hurricane, and guess what it'll do? It'll pop up all of these different hurricane modification patents and show you links to it. Click that. It'll take you to the Google patent page, and you can read all about it. And it's searchable. You can type in Ken Caldera. Boom. And what do you have here? System for facilitating cloud formation and cloud precipitation. That is literally a cloud ionizer on a truck that they can rent to farmers. And who's on the patent? Ken Caldera, geoengineer, along with Roderick Hyde, Nathan Merv hold the patent troll, Lowellwood Jr. Who's on this one? Oh, that's just Bill Gates on steering hurricanes. So these are the ways that I educate people. These are the things I like to do, to make graphics, infographics, to educate people. You want to know about weather modification? You want to know the 10 technologies to own the weather today? I give it away. Here it is. Full screen graphic right there. 10 technologies to own the weather. This is what I'm good at. This is what I do. So I create infographics, I create timelines, I create maps. Might as well show it. We're wrapping up right now. ClimateViewer.org/3D. So you can actually come over to ClimateViewer.org/3D. You can go here to geoengineering and weather modification project. You can just start clicking up them maps. Turn them on. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to just go through and I'm going to flip them all on real quick. And we'll show you that all-seeing eyeball that she got so butthurt about. Chinese covering Tibetan Plateau, cloud seeding generators. These are extremely low-frequency transmitters. Nobody will ever understand the amount of work that went into creating all of these maps, but I don't need you to understand it. What I do appreciate is anybody who does understand it that supports my work, because shill I am not, gatekeeper I am not. I will entertain all sides of the argument. I will talk with anybody anytime, and I will certainly debate you if you disagree. But this is weather modification worldwide. And nobody on the entire internet is putting as much work as I have into this topic. Not even close. Not even close. So what did she see? She saw this all-seeing eye, talking about Mellowcat here, and she's like, not only does he have this eyeball logo, but then he uses an all-seeing eye right here. Anybody want to know why I have an all-seeing eye on there? Anybody want to take a guess? Because on the map list right here, if I clear all maps, and instead of going to geoengineering, I go to government, I scroll down till I see Five Eyes Stone Ghost Surveillance Network. And then I see, let's see, I'll go down here, undersea cables. I could bring up the Department of Homeland Security Fusion Centers. Boom. And I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll change it to something cool looking. Let's make it dark. And now you get to see the dark side of the surveillance state, which is the reason why I put these on here, because of things like this, the Utah Data Center, the Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative Data Center at the Utah Data Center, where the Illuminati of the Five Eyes Signals Intelligence Agreement are spying on you. So I put this icon on there specifically for that purpose. And as you can see, when I turn on Bing satellites, if you scroll down to the ground, that is the facility. How do you know? There's a photo of the facility. Does that photo match what you're seeing right here? I think it does. Do you know how hard it is to find all these spy facilities worldwide? Pretty damn hard. And at every single wire connection around the globe, they're listening, they're watching. Now, the interesting part is, I didn't actually create that geoengineering, that weather modification map that used the eyeball. The one that she actually saw that in was 50 years of United Nations tracking the weather modification. And this was actually created by George Stiller. So whenever he created it, he included these red eyeballs. And I don't know why he decided to choose them for this map, but basically they were court cases. So all of the red eyeballs are court cases where somebody tried to sue somebody for modifying the weather. Everything else is a weather modification project. These are Southwest Texas court case. Now, of course, Mellowcat, being the investigative journalist she is, she saw an eyeball and immediately went, yeah, did you see the eyeballs? I think he's a CIA agent. I'm going to run all over SUBSTACK and the whole damn internet and tell everybody that he's a UN shill who uses weird symbols and jokes about living in a double wide created by the Illuminati. I can't help people like that. And those kind of people are going to come and go. This last month has been hell. I've been busy helping so many people. I didn't even mention David Sorensen with Stop World Control and all that. But this next month, I'm going to focus real hard on working on my stuff from this point on. Bending over backwards for strangers, them days are over with. I will still, I'm a hopeless, case of wanting to help people. I think I always will be. But at the same time, I can't get my own stuff done if I'm out busy, taking phone calls and doing Zoom calls with other people, trying to help them do their thing. I want to do my thing. If you want to help support me do my thing, get me out of this bedroom, support me with a monthly donation, bring me home, and then I can go out to the weather modification conference and interview the scientists themselves again, like I did in 2018. Best time I ever had. I miss that part of, being out in the world doing activism. Right now, I got a wife and 2 daughters. I work 40 hours a week as a security guard. I've got an application in with the Sumter County Sheriff's Department, and that's life. There have been almost no donations for the entire last year. Almost none. There have been some paid subscribers on Substack. The Patreon is in the crapper. It used to be somewhere around $600 or $700 a month. It's like $190. I get maybe $50 a month from Google AdSense on YouTube. It's only with supporters like you generously donating that I'm able to do this stuff. And this year I literally paid out of pocket. I didn't even do a GoFundMe because I literally had a mellow cat running, psyop on the entire freaking internet as much as she could to try to destroy my rep while trying to help Sarah G and do an application for a job with RFK, which got turned down, while helping David Sorensen, stopworldcontrol.com, while helping. So that's why I haven't been making any videos lately. Other than the podcast that I went on other people's podcasts, I'm always down with OPP. I would greatly appreciate it. If you guys want to help, go to connect.climateviewer.com. If you do that, you can come over there and you will see that basically, and this is available like all the websites, but you can join my Climate Viewer report by signing up here. You can join my Telegram chat, my Rumble, YouTube, BitChute. The Odyssey's kind of dead. I can't stream to it live. I'll figure it out eventually. I'm live on X right now. I'm always on X like all damn day. You're not really going to find me hanging out, talking on Facebook. It's not a thing I do anymore. It's just their whole system's screwy. I do have a merch shop. There will be all brand new merch very soon, especially after the website's done. But these are ways you can support me. And if you feel like being generous and supporting me, I would greatly appreciate it. It's also available on every single website I have. You can literally just go up here to the top and it'll say donate. So all those links are right there. If you want to support me, it's also available at the bottom of every single page. So I didn't ask for money this year. And I, all came out of my pocket. I have a building outside in my yard. I want to renovate it. Probably cost around about $5,000, what we're assuming. Tearing out the walls, tearing out the ceiling, putting up new walls, new ceiling, fixing the floor, putting an air conditioner unit in the window so that I don't burn up in there, and basically make it a dust-free environment so it doesn't destroy the computer. But hey, having a studio and being able to go out there, like right now, it is 12:16 a.m. I am sure that my wife did not expect that I was going to go 2 hours. I normally go an hour. So I'm going to wrap it up here because I got to go to work at, get up at 7:30 in the morning and go to work. And it is now midnight 17 here in Sumter, South Carolina. Bettina, you didn't have to do that. God bless you, Bettina, for the super chat. Thank you so much. Love you, mean it. But yeah, I need to get the hell out of this house. My wife needs to be in bed right now. I'm sure that she's waiting for me to go and shut up, Jim. So with that being said, I love you all. Missed you. I miss making these videos and just shooting straight with you people. You know, it's fun. I enjoy it very, very much. So we'll be doing more of this more often after I get that studio made. And if I have to just, take it out of my pocket, I probably will. But your help would be greatly appreciated. Love you, mean it. And it got me in trouble, pointing out that somebody was advocating violence. But I truly do believe this. When people are threatening to kill legislators and government officials in Tennessee because they banned geoengineering and they banned weather modification and the chemtrails didn't go away, we have a serious problem. So I think that it's time that people understand that you've not been told all the truth, that there are people lying to you to make a buck off you. And I could be like them, but I have morals and I have integrity, and I will never be like them. I will never bullshit you for $1. I'm not saying the popular thing. I'm saying what I believe. And that's it. It's really that simple. It ain't popular. It ain't clickbait. It's just the truth. The whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God until I changed my mind tomorrow when I'm given some new evidence. And then I'm going to tell you I was wrong. I've done it in the past. I will do it in the future. I will always uphold my integrity. I have a spine, and I'm not too proud to admit when I was wrong. So thank you so much to everybody who's been following me. Some of you for 20 years. God bless you. I appreciate it. Every person who has sent somebody to my website, all organic traffic. I don't even appear in search engines. I've been proudly shadow banned since 2015, before shadow banning was even cool. It's all been you guys sharing my stuff that has brought new people on board. God bless you all. Please continue to support my work. If you can support me monetarily, now would be the time. I want to build a studio. I want to get the hell up out of here. Joe, not a Fed. Buy yourself something pretty. I'm going to buy some wood for the walls in there, man. Thank you for the $20 super chat, brother. God bless you. And God bless you all. Today is Easter. The Lenten season. I think that there were demons among us, because it sure has been hell for me this month. But today, Christ is risen. Hallelujah. And I feel pretty darn positive about that. So with that being said, attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it. Not even going to play the old outro. Going to play the real old outro, because Facebook likes to copyright claim every time I play the outro.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code.
Better than anything you can get without a prescription. Anything. It's the best.
I can do anything good. I can do anything good. Better than anyone. Better than anyone.